Hi, it's Kristin Tollefson, the Education Director at the Bainbridge Island Museum of Art, here with another Art in Action BIMA from Home. This last weekend I spent time being and looking outside when it was rainy and sunny and really trying to observe things that are growing and reminding myself that we have a lot to learn from the way plants behave and also from how to learn to look in detail. And looking in detail at our surroundings, at nature, is really similar to the way we at the museum encourage people to look at art. So I thought I would do a little bit of both with you today and look at some leaves and talk a little bit about art. So as you can see from the background, I really love books, and so I thought I would start with some books that talk about or look at botanical drawings in detail in different kinds of ways. So the first one is this Botanical Sketchbooks book, and it's got a collection of many different artists' work and different styles of looking at plants and making art about them. Some of these are sketchbooks because they are studies, they are drawings, they're not considered, they weren't at the time considered to be the final work of art. Maybe they were a drawing or a print that was turned into a painting. Maybe they were actually done in a book. I love these because they are so much only about the leaf, not a lot about the detail, but you can see some of the veins in the leaves, and you could see that the artist was looking at the different shapes. Other kinds of sketchbooks might have some other information. This one shows different parts of the plants, and you can see some writing next to the illustrations. That would be a way that the artist could make some notes that they could think about in the future, refer to maybe about color or about the structure of the plant, the way that it's built. And some are quite heavily written in. This one has a lot of writing and would probably describe maybe where the plant was found, how it was growing, what was growing around it. So you can see that words and pictures are very important parts of this kind of artwork. I'm going to show you another style, another kind of artwork. This is Ellsworth Kelly, who is a painter from the mid 20th century. And for his whole life, he investigated plants. He had an early love of plants. His mother had a garden, and this is a book of his drawings of plants. And again, what I really love about this is the simplicity. There's not a lot of detail. There's just the shape of the leaf, but we're pretty sure that that's, it's very clear that that's a leaf. There are some that are a little bit more complex with multiple leaves, maybe a whole twig or stem of a plant with leaves. But the fact is that this artist was working on illustrations of plants as he was also doing some finished paintings. So while I was out in the garden, I did take some samples. I was cleaning up some things, and I was pruning and had some extra leaves that I thought would be interesting to show. And I picked these because they are all oval or spade shaped and don't have a lot of contour to them, but they're all very different. And I think that's one of the ways that we look at art too. We compare and contrast, or we look for things that are the same or that are different. And so this camellia leaf, this sorrel leaf, this rhododendron leaf and this birch leaf have some things in common, but they also have some real big differences. There's the shininess of the surface of the camellia and the fact that it's a very dark green. There's the kind of almost limp quality of the sorrel leaf. There's the very rigid rhododendron, and it has a very unusual back that has a strong spine and almost some furriness to the back, and veins that look crackled instead of like forks in a river. Finally, we have this little birch leaf that's been chewed on by some kind of insect predator, and we see just the very sparse remains of the outside of the leaf with many holes. I think it's worth paying attention to the differences in these leaves, and also maybe spending some time looking deeply and recording that in your own way. One way that I do record my work is in a sketchbook. And sometimes, I think you may have seen one of the other Art in Actions with Emma Cantrell, where she showed how to make a single-page folded sketchbook. You don't need a fancy book. You just need some place to record your thoughts, and it's lovely to be able to have that with you all the time. This is a sketchbook that I drew in when I was on a trip, and you can see that I was looking at plants and my surroundings. There was a cactus there. There were some details here of different kinds of pine cones and acorns of shapes that I had not seen before, and a garden where I was looking at all of these details. So I like to show a little bit of where I was looking. Again, keeping notes for yourself of things to look at in the future. Another way to look at leaves is to preserve them. And I just wanted to show you one thing. I have a very heavy sketchbook. You could easily use just a lightweight sketchbook or a magazine and pile things on top of it to press your leaves flat. And these have been in the book since last summer. You can see that they are pretty stiff and very dry, and they are now in a form that I can either draw from them, or I can take photographs of them. I could use them to move around and make a collage. Lots of different options for preserving the leaves for another day. When you're looking at plants, it's that kind of close observation that really is valuable to learning about something by looking at it over and over again and looking at it in different kinds of contexts. I'm showing you a series of little watercolor paintings that I did last summer, and they are all of the same little sprig of pine that I found when we were visiting some family. And I just kept painting over and over the same little twig and trying to learn different things about it as I went. So you can see that I changed the color of the watercolor a little bit, but some of these I tried to do very quickly, like the ones down here where you can see they're a little bit more watery, and some I tried to do very detailed. And so if you look at the same thing over and over again and try to make sense of it, you will learn things about the way the branches are put together, or the leaves or the needles are assembled on each one of the little twigs. So I encourage you to look deeply and more than once at what you are looking at. One last one I wanted to show you is this little drawing of two leaves. You can kind of see a similarity between the leaf that I showed you before, the bug-eaten birch leaf. This was a pair of leaves from the same tree, and once I started looking at the holes in it, I started noticing that some of the holes matched up with another leaf. So I created this drawing that showed where the two were matched up, and just another way of looking deeply at what is in the surrounding world. So I want to encourage you on these days when you have time to be walking and looking and moving slowly and asking questions, to go outside, find a leaf from a plant that can offer you up their leaf. Please don't pick a brand new leaf from a brand new plant, but you can choose one from one that's been growing for a while that has many leaves on it, and look closely. Think about ways that it might inspire you to learn more about it, and make sure that you are taking notes all the time. Take a sketchbook, make a sketchbook, and carry it with you. Until next time, it's Kristin Tollefson with Art in Action. Thanks.